Welcome to the second portion of our Switch Basics section of the course. This is going to be the lab exercise. If you haven't done so already, go to the link in the video description to download these labs so you can follow along and try them for yourself. Let's hop into this. The purpose of this lab exercise is to perform some basic switch configuration. We're going to enable some basic security features and remote management access. So the setup says we need to drag a desktop computer and a 2960 switch onto the screen below. So we come down here, End Devices, we can grab the one that looks like a desktop, which is named PC. Then we can come over here, we can grab our network devices, down here to switches, grab a 2960, put it over here. Now that we've done that, we can go ahead and follow through with our task. So it says console into the switch from the PC0. Well, this one's PC1, that's not a big deal, we'll use that one. So to console into the switch, we're going to need a connection cable. This blue one, the console cable. Hook it up to the computer. This RS-232 is a console port. Hook it up to the switch on the console port. Okay, and then we need to go into the computer desktop right here. And we'll hop into a terminal console. We'll accept all the default settings. We'll hit OK. And now we are successfully consoled into the switch from the computer. Perfect. Next task, configure a banner. Okay, to configure a banner we need to get into configuration mode. So first we gotta hit enable to get to privileged exec mode. Then we can hit conf T, short for configure terminal, get into config mode. And then we can go banner, MOTD. Let's go ahead and delimit this with the star symbol. We'll say this is my banner. End it with the same character that we started it with. Enter. Perfect. Next it says set the switch name to SW1, restrict privileged exec mode with a password, and make it encrypted in the running config. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and change the name by going host name SW1. Boom. You see we changed the name right there. Now we're going to restrict access to privileged exec mode by going enable secret. We'll just have our secret be Cisco, and that'll make it encrypted or not in plain text in the running config. Boom. Alright, next step, it says set up a local account with username Cisco, password Cisco, then configure a domain name of practice. Alright, so username Cisco, password Cisco, and then IP domain dash name Cisco. Perfect. Then it says configure the console line to require a username and a password. Okay, let's go ahead and get into line console 0 and say login local so that it requires that local account username and password for authentication. Our next step says generate a crypto key for use with SSH. Alright, so let's exit this mode. We'll go crypto key generate RSA, hit enter, change that to 2048 so it's more secure, and we've generated those keys. Step 7, configure the VTY lines for SSH only and to log in with the local username and password. Alright, so let's hop into line VTY. Let's go ahead and set them all. 0 through 15 are all the VTY lines on a switch. Go ahead and say, we'll start with transport input SSH to restrict it to SSH only, and then log in local so that it authenticates with that local username and password. Perfect. Step 8, configure the switch to be managed remotely. Okay, let's go ahead for that, exit out of this mode. We're going to need to hop into what's called VLAN 1, which is a default VLAN on the switch. Usually it's used for management. So we'll go ahead and go interface VLAN 1, give it an IP address 192.168.0.2 with a subnet mask. Enter. Make sure that we run the no shutdown command on here so that it brings the interface up. And then we can exit out of that mode so we can give our switch a default gateway, which is IP default gateway 192.168.0.1. It's important if we want to manage it from outside of our local network. Okay, perfect. Last step says save your changes in the switch configuration. To save our changes, we need to be back in privileged exec mode. So let's go ahead and get down to there. We'll do copy, run, start. Short for copy running config, startup config. Enter. Go ahead and accept the destination file name, and we've saved our changes. Perfect. Alright, perfect. Now that we've saved our changes, we can move on to the final step, which says assign an IP address to the PC, then access the switch via SSH and display the running configuration. Okay, so let's exit out of this console session, go into our IP configuration, assign this IP address 192.168.0.3, give it a subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Looks good. We can exit out of that. Now before we can access it with SSH, we have to actually connect a normal Ethernet cable. We'll pick this copper straight through, hook it up on the fast Ethernet, hook it up to any of the switch's ports, hop back into the computer there. Now we're going to need to wait for this line to turn green so that's good, or we can hit this fast forward button down here, which will make it happen faster. Now that everything's ready to go, we can come down into the desktop of the computer, go into the SSH client. We're going to go ahead and specify the IP address of the switch, which was 192.168.0.2. We gave it a local account with a username of Cisco. We hit connect. Look, we're getting into the switch through SSH. Their password there was Cisco. Look, we even see our banner that we set up. And perfect. We can even test our security. We go into enable mode. Look, it requires a password to get into there too. Awesome. Looks like we have correctly configured that switch for some basic operations. If you were able to do this on your own, props to you. If you had to follow along, no worries. It takes a lot of practice to get good at these things, and there's a lot of commands to learn, I know. But using that question mark and the tab key will definitely help you a lot. Overall, I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I hope you're getting something out of this course. Join me for the next video where we'll get into some router basics and basic configuration on that. See you next time.